Kasake Baratnas, and welcome to Remember the Cant, which is our podcast where we hop aboard the Rocinante and go along the Expanse, the universe of the Expanse, and we go to Tycho, series, Ganymede, Earth, Mars, and all across the belt. With me are two of my Baratnas, Parvati and Bala. Say hi, guys.
Hey,
Hello. We also badmouth a whole bunch of people. That's another
yep,
story.
we do.
Yeah,
That's our
yeah.
forte.
And in this episode, we are focusing on the seventh episode of season two, which is called Surprise, Surprise, the Seventh Man, and which is also the number of people who diligently watch our podcast. So,
Really, seven? Wow, that's
yeah, we've graduated. We have a lot.
seven more than what I expected.
Yeah,
I just did a quick math.
yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's actually eight more than I expected. Amazing, fantastic.
Someone is actually going back in time and erasing it to be eight more than expected.
Ooh, time loop. I
Yeah,
love time loops. Okay.
yeah. And speaking of sci-fi, we are
Oh,
we
yeah. Duh.
yeah. So in this episode, we there was a lot of action, lot of things happened, and it started with a very beautiful, very well shot scene of the
Yeah,
bloody snowflake. It was so beautiful,
amazing, right?
amazingly
Yeah.
shot. Bala, what did you think about it?
Of course, I'm already biased, right? It's many scenes are about Bobbie and her struggle and her recollection. That arc was amazing. That's the part I totally loved. The rest were just to support that whole thing. That's me, biased me. I liked her training. I liked her recalling that there's a wax suit, put her under test, saying that, hey, she in fact abuses the captain and then says, oh, realizes, oh boy, oh, it's you.
There's a chain of
Then
command.
chain of command and all
There's a
that.
chain.
And yeah, so and now she has to lie because that it shouldn't trigger a war between Earth and Mars. So that's the best part. Of course, there was the what's his name, Dawson, no,
Anderson Dawes.
Anderson Dawes. Sorry, I messed it up. Okay, Anderson Dawes was irritating at one point, but also he has a mission. He's recruiting. He has something up his sleeve. You can clearly see he's up to no good. And at the end, he proves us all right that he's up to no good. So it was a clever ploy. I fell for it the first time I saw it. Then I realized the distraction. Very well done. I like this episode a lot. Parvati, what about you?
I also liked it a lot in that opening sequence and where you have Bobby actually strapped up back on her ship and being interrogated, questioned. You can interpret it either way. She had so much trauma that she couldn't remember what was happening, and a lot of the time her mind just blanks out when she attempts to remember. Were there seven people, or was there someone extra who was looking over her helmet? It's all a huge a muddle for her. And she's also pointed out that one extra object in the sky, which turns out to be a dangerous thing because it didn't show up on anybody's feed. And we
Yeah.
had that. And also, I found it very, very satisfying to see Fred Johnson actually get taken down a notch because he was so quick to trust Anderson Dawes. He was ready to turn a lot of things over to him. And it was
Surprise, surprise,
surprising.
he's quick
Yeah,
quick to trust
quick to
anyone.
trust. So quick to trust. And that one scene where he was, kind of just turning things over then, and then after turning things over to Anderson Dawes, not guessing that the people are going to follow him and not Fred Johnson,
Yeah.
trying to, it felt so ham-fisted, it felt a little stupid, but and very true to his character. And Anderson Dawes, of course, super soft, very, very cunning. He's trying to get to the bottom of this protomolecule thing. He may or may not have known what it can do, but of course, you have Diogo, 19 years old, utterly stupid. So it was an interesting episode. I quite enjoyed it.
The best scene for me was the Anderson Dawes and drummer interaction.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was such fluid banter. We've never had even the dialogues people say it in this episode also when the dialogues are great, it feels like it's very filmy. Your
Hmm.
father was smart, you are smarter, that kind of dialogues. Whatever Holden says feels filmy. He feels out of a Bollywood movie. It's like, and his put upon aggression when Dawes comes onto his ship like
Yes.
a cornered puppy or something. He has this shoulders arched and says, "Get out of my
Yeah.
ship." It feels like,
Get out of my ship.
yeah,
Yeah.
you are a child who is trying to act tough. But Anderson Dawes and Drummer, that scene, that whenever they had that dialogue, it flows so it's like genuine banter that they had, and
Yes.
then in their accents, in that belter accents, both of them have very strong belter accents, which is amazing to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he tries to bring back that whole connection of Mali. He calls
yeah.
her. Oh,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
just back
She
off.
calls she calls him
It's
Pampa.
in Pampa.
That
Get over,
Yeah,
dude.
that
Old
scene
guy.
really did seem like two grown-ups are talking, as against,
yeah,
some idealist or some romantic or somebody who agrees to everything else. It was not like that. This is
yeah,
two complicated people talking to each
yeah.
other.
It's a very short scene, and
Yeah.
also you get to know that they had a like a guardian ward kind of relationship,
Mm,
or she was under his employ when she was
Correct.
very young, the
Yeah.
dogs,
yes.
and
Yeah.
probably something icky romantic happened there because
Icky romantic.
there is some hint of that also, but I love the way it was written and performed also.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
Other than that, we had very little of Earth. We just had the
Yeah.
response.
That
What did
Avasarala
you
scene
guys
is all
think
I can.
about that scene? I think Parvati, do you
Yeah.
remember that scene?
Yeah. So I mostly the most striking thing that stood out to me there was, oops, I forget his name. Erin
Eren,
Wright.
right?
I'm sorry.
Erin, right.
He was so unsettled by Avasarala. He's trying to do something because he had this very shady deal with Jules Mao, and now he's trying to kind of pull strings and get things done. Nothing is happening because Avasarala has finally come on her own. She's turning out to be a memorable character, as far as I can see. And that's the only thing I remember about Earth, unfortunately.
No, she
Yeah, she
talks about a
doesn't.
Vespa blockade, and
Yeah,
they
Yeah.
they
Vesta.
give out some story. Vesta, is it?
Vesta, right? Yeah.
I think I
Vesta.
wrote
Okay,
down
Vesta
Vesta.
blockade.
Yes.
So where they're gone to the brink of war, but they just said we'll talk instead of shoot. That's what she uses. So they don't want to repeat. In some ways, they want to repeat what happened back then, so that they don't annihilate themselves. So I guess that's what they're trying to do here in this episode. In
That
that
Vesta
scene, sorry,
blockade
I'm sorry.
also reminds me of the real world situation of Cuban Missile Crisis,
Okay.
where it was
Mm.
very close to war
Mm.
during the Cold War era.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So cooler heads prevailed and bad things didn't happen. Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think there's she proposed the Mars Peace Summit, right? Yeah. The Peace
Mm.
Summit where she wants to invite Mars and everyone. Uh,
Mm.
She at least is attempting to prevent a war. And there are so many trigger happy people in the UN. It's
yeah.
surprising. It's very frightening. Also, I think that also shows that for some reason she has an idea of war will be like what, but the others just want it for some reason. They
Mm.
just want war. They want everybody to fight. They want the whole solar system to go up in flames. So
It's
her
an ego
choice,
issue also, I guess,
yes,
because letting Mars go off as a colony must have been
yes,
very hard for
very
these guys.
hard,
Mm.
very hard.
To become a
Yeah,
complete independent nation. Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. And I was half expecting that general Vietnamese guy to show up and say, "Let's blow them. Let's start a war.
Let's
Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
fire the
with
silos."
what you gave away all your nukes,
Yeah. But yeah, they destroyed 120 nukes at least, with 30 of them missing now. Yeah.
missing in double
I
quotes.
again speaking of
Yeah.
artificial, this Naomi hold an exchange between them saying belter tax, I call them shakedown tax, and we used to do this, we used to do that. So suddenly Naomi has this newfound thing for the belters
Patriotism.
and
Oh,
Yeah.
yes,
patriotism,
yes,
and
yes.
then suddenly he's defending and she's I don't know what's happening here. What do they want to prove in that? They're part of a crew now. Why don't they act
Yeah.
like one? But they don't. They are taking sides and
You know what I
arguing
thought
about it.
when I saw that? They're trying to introduce conflict in the romance. That's what I thought. That's all there is to it. They need to fight.
I tried to justify it by thinking, yeah, because he was her captain back then, and there was a distance, and
Hmm.
she had that sympathy for Earth, and she was able to distance herself from the belt when it was a crew. But
Yeah.
when it's him, when they are in a romantic relationship, and when she's in so much proximity with the other belters,
Yeah.
it feels like the differences are very stark to her.
Yes.
And
Maybe.
maybe I'm just trying to justify
No, the
the conflict.
justification is fine. I get the backdrop, but why is Naomi suddenly on it is my question. I don't have a
No, I
problem
think
with the argument itself.
since they planned it on Tycho, I think since that horrible dance scene with drummer, I think she's getting constantly reminded that she's not she is of the belters, and she should probably act like it, because there is a guy who sacrificed himself for the belt,
Yeah.
Miller
Hmm.
in his example, but she is not doing
But
anything for the belt
you
as
know, I
such.
have a feeling that we have to come up with an explanation for Naomi like proto-molecule because Naomi, it doesn't make
Because
sense.
Naomi, yeah,
we
makes sense to
we have
her.
to spend, yeah, we have to really stretch it a bit, which I feel like there's a lot of gaps in her characterization. They could have shown something about her newfound patriotism and her sudden anger
Yeah.
towards Holden, but instead you have to keep speculating about her. You never know what she's going to do next.
No, okay. That's I'm going to move on to the next one. In the same scene, I was wondering how do two authors write one book? One because one author doing it, okay, I get it. You're battling with yourself and you do something. But two authors, how do they do it? Was a long-standing question for me. I I think one of the things that I noted was Amos suddenly has a backstory, has a
Hmm?
personality suddenly developed.
Yeah.
I realized it's probably part of their to-do list and one thought the other one was going to do it and nobody did it and suddenly said, hey dude, what's up? Why don't you do it? Okay, I'll do it. Fine. Then suddenly they wrote in the
It's
character of Amos backstory. Let's explore it now.
probably in the books it's much more streamlined and given time to breathe. But for a TV show, it's not two, it's 20 authors. It's 20 writers in a writer's room who are trying to
It,
cram everything.
it's also like they have a checklist. So they've come to this point. Let's give Amos backstory. So write dialogue, check. That's it.
And
Right?
such
We
stupid, like it's like bullet
Yeah.
point list, as Bala said. It's like I had a mom, I had
Yeah.
another mom, Lydia, and did you love her? Yes. I felt Cortazar was more human, even though he acted like an idiot, like a maniac there.
that I could relate to. I mean
Yeah.
that that exchange was more meaningful than this. Did you have a mom, Lydia?
Yeah,
Oh, that
because
is the scene. That is the scene you're
Cortazar's
talking about.
Cortazar's story at least is more believable that way,
Yeah,
because he was
exactly.
at his mom's deathbed, and then he's
Correct.
regretting not he's regretting he couldn't spend time with the proto-molecule research.
Yes.
Right.
And for his character, that makes sense. But Amos
But for
throwing in
Amos,
his backstory, like dealing cards, he's like, now here, take this is part of my history now. Out of nowhere. And it didn't make sense through the whole episode also.
No,
yeah,
don't get me wrong. I like Amos the character as he is now. Without the backstory, he
With
is
the
totally
backstory,
fine.
yeah. He's a
He's
trigger happy
totally
monkey,
fine.
yeah.
I
yeah,
love him. I love him. That's how I see him. Like, why did I like Terminator? Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator. Because of the same reason. He doesn't have emotion. He's shooting everything
Yeah.
there. Right? That's exactly why I like Amos. The same thing. Right? Why do I need a backstory? I don't.
Yeah.
Just leave it. Drop
We
it.
already know he has mommy
yeah.
issues, the way he attaches himself to
Yeah.
Naomi, yeah.
He has
That's
issues.
more
Just
than
leave
enough
it in
for
the
us.
dark. Yeah.
We have enough to go on. We have enough to go on. We don't need to know every ounce of his backstory.
Or
This was
maybe
actually, actually that scene was kind of disappointing also because, like Bala said, he referenced the Terminator. This would actually be like the T-1000 suddenly saying, I had this in my past. And then, yeah,
You
it's
know
kind of
why I'm
creatively.
inserting this thing into your shoulder because Lydia was
yeah,
placed to
yeah.
me and
Yeah,
you're not.
something like that.
We
But they could have the old adage of writing advice, which is I don't even like to repeat, like show don't tell, right? So you just
Yeah,
in a future episode somewhere you just reference other characters discovering this
saying
about
it.
Amos, not Amos himself, because he is not a character who divulges anything about his past. So why would he do it
absolutely.
now?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think
stupid.
we have a problem because this crew probably brought a free teleprompter and they have to use it. It has to have excellence.
No, I tell you, even that scene where Amos interacts with that kid, well, I thought
Yeah,
was unnecessary, but hey,
it
you
was
wanted some.
unnecessary.
Oh, you know.
Yeah,
So they're handing out medicines, and suddenly the kid says, "Hey, I want one." No, only one for one, or something. There's some pushing, shoving happening.
yeah.
So is that? Am I imagining this, or this
I think
happened?
I don't remember, but I think the this will, because Amos is not on the Rocinante and he's nowhere to be
Mm.
seen. I don't remember the next episode, but somewhere I think it will play a part, because just to show that he is with Cortazar or with or something or the other in episode 8. Because unless that happens, this had no sense.
So
It made no sense for it to be here.
I feel like not everything needs a backstory and not
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
needs to be
precisely.
humanized and explained. Just leave him alone. Why are you doing this?
It's like that. Have you seen that movie Solo, the Star
Solo,
Wars
Han
story,
Solo,
the
Han
Han
Solo.
Solo
No,
movie?
no, no. I saw exactly 7 or 8 minutes of it, and I said, "This
Same,
is
same.
rubbish. I'm not going to
Because
see
in
it."
that he comes up with his name Solo, because someone in the
Why is it
airport
called so?
says, "Are you traveling with someone?" No. So are you solo? Yes. So that's how he comes up with
Oh,
his
that's
name.
a cop out.
So stupid. So stupid.
Yeah,
Like
And what
think
about
the
Han?
yeah.
yeah, I think he heard
He
a
ventured
goose,
into
a
China
Han,
and
Han
Han.
dynasty.
like
So
like the
stupid.
there's this YouTube channel that I watch, Red Letter Media. They're funny. They
Yeah,
make what do they how do you call it, reviews, movie reviews of
yeah,
Star Wars. So in that
Mm.
he says this whole magic of the Force and all that was destroyed in Phantom Menace because they tried to explore it with that explain it with that midichlorians or
midi-chlorians.
what midichlorians
Yeah.
or whatever that is called. It is so magical. It didn't require a size. This is
No,
not something you can
sometimes
train.
you
You
don't need to explain
yeah,
stuff, because the
Yeah.
mystery is the things that is alluring. Like if there's
absolutely.
a character called a man with no name, and you go into his backstory and give a prequel to him and tell him how he dropped his name, it will be really
We
stupid.
don't want to know. Just leave it.
Yeah. So the point of all this is leave Amos alone. Let him
Yeah.
be.
We should
Just
Please
rename our
don't give him
podcast. Remember the Cant to
Rocinante's
leave
interior.
Amos alone.
Yeah,
Leave Amos
exactly.
alone. Leave Amos alone.
just give him a gun
Yeah,
and
and
give him
let him
people to
shoot
shoot
one.
at.
It's okay. Yeah.
Exactly. Or bonk them to the bar table. Yeah, totally fine with that.
I
Smash their faces.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with
no
that.
see, this is a problem. When you give people random personality traits, you turn into Naomi. Please don't do that to Amos
Yeah,
also.
that was
Yeah, now we're fine. We have gotten over that.
uh,
Please don't do that
was
to
dumb.
Amos also.
But in his scene with
Yeah.
Cortazar says that his whatever his severance was, like the thing that changed him, it was
Yeah,
voluntary, and he offers that to Amos too. And
yeah. It is
as
painless,
if
is what he says.
as if this guy has anything that he wants to let go of. I don't know.
Unless, of course, somebody has a teleprompter and reads the entire character. I hope not.
Yeah.
So, so that next scene with Fred and Dawes and
Oh,
Holden should have been
goodness, yes.
called Fred's foot in mouth. That was awesome. The whole thing. It goes
I
on
like the
and
way
on.
I like the way Anderson Dawes played him though. Like
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
fully
He
he
played him.
manipulated him. He accepted the role of the volunteer, and
Yeah.
then he says, "You are stupid." He basically said that.
See, this is
Holden
what
tries to
happens when
do
you
some
agree to
damage
everything.
control, or at least
Yeah.
tried to, and then got blasted by for that. Yeah.
Holden is too much of a little boy who wants to play a knight, and Fred Johnson is one of those ultra giving, like a kalpavriksha all the time. We'll agree to everything. It,
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
these are two
it,
politicians speaking more
Pulpavriksha.
than
yeah,
two politicians who are bickering over some trivial issue that went on, and back and forth and back and forth. That's
Yeah.
how it seemed like. It didn't seem
And
like
this
they
guy,
were actually leaders.
Yeah,
this is still, but it still sounds like what happens in Parliament. But
Exactly. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Holden white knighting himself, but
Oh
it
yeah.
harkens back to his old original Don Quixote origins, being the stupid voice of reason when no one asked him to. And Naomi was
Now he
right
said,
at the end.
"Can't you keep your mouth shut?" It's like
Yeah.
a typical husband wife. Why
There
did you have
was
to go
no
shut up your
reason
mouth?
for him to interfere over there, but he had to because.
Yeah, true. Because
But isn't that quite dangerous that Fred is like telling all these people who are happy to, take over those missiles to tell them that, hey, I have missiles, everything is in my control. I'm the only guy who knows everything. If you kill me,
yeah,
you'll get everything you want. That it kind of advertises that. So, and
yeah.
there's no hierarchy, nothing. There's like a bunch of goons. That's it.
And OP has factions in it, so they
Right.
can just take it over. I don't think
Yeah.
Drummer will
Just
be
I,
that sad to just give up.
give it. If he is, so naive that Anderson Dawes plays him like that, I don't see much hope for him. He can't get anything done at this rate. And it was the worst part with that scene was it was so obvious that Anderson Dawes is up to no good, and these guys are just
Yeah,
we'll give you the missile.
yeah. I know you shouldn't judge people by how they look, but Anderson
Yeah.
Dawes looks crooked. Yeah, it's like he will do something evil, Jafar type scene from another. He is up to no good. You know he's up
Yeah.
to no good. So
He
trusting,
doesn't hide it. Yeah,
he
that is the
doesn't
thing.
hide it.
He
He,
doesn't hide it. And,
I think that
and you
therein
have,
lies the genius of him as a politician. I think
yeah.
he looks so crooked, and he's like, "But I am here for you."
Oh, easier.
And
And
he
when he
seems
said,
like he's praising these guys, right? So,
yeah,
Fred, he's
Yeah,
done so many good things for
seems
us.
like
He's
that.
brilliantly
a
written.
well.
His
Yes,
dialogues are
yes.
well written. I really like those. The
To me,
way,
Oh,
it came
Holden.
across as
Oh, he
a,
lives. His head is up in the cloud, but he is such a great
yeah.
guy, hero for the belt. They're not.
You
See,
know
look at
that
the best the Earth has to offer.
it was like, he's saying all this, and with his other hand, he's saying, idiot, fool, stupid.
yeah.
He's like, "No."
Uh,
He played
and
all
this,
of them. Mm,
but Earth has become an archetype for, or like a face for modern American values, right? Because the
Yes, that's
role,
what it looks like.
yeah,
Yeah.
the laws also, like possession is 9/10 of the law, is very
yeah,
American, and looking at things as possessions is a very Western idea.
yeah.
So
Material positions, yes.
yeah,
Materialistic way of doing this.
so it might be fair to say that the whole Earth is now Americanized.
Like
That
the
way, because
US,
we don't see
yes.
any other countries or any other culture influence of any other
We don't
cultures
see
also.
anything.
You see her in the sari, no? Come on, man. You see Avasarala in a sari.
Diversity.
Dude, isn't that enough? Yeah, this side of the earth represented, the other side of the earth represented. Done.
As wearing a
There's
sari
Mao
and
who speaks French.
completely
No, there's
assimilated.
Mao who speaks French. So there's Chinese, there's French for you. Done. World represented.
But it can also be New York. It's everything.
Yeah, it could also
It,
be do.
It could be New York too,
New
yeah.
York too. It's very global that way.
The thing with her sari is you have to come up with all sorts of justifications to justify that it is in fact a sari and not some
Yeah,
random scraps of material.
yeah.
Who the heck will
Anything
know?
9 yards, right? I can just
Yeah.
yeah. You just have to
Something
drape it.
that's not stitched and is wrapped around sari. Done.
Sari,
Sari.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Not
yeah.
a sarong or nothing.
That's actually a scary thought. That means all the mummies are wrapped in saris, wrap, 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 wrap.
It's technically a sari.
Yeah, it is. It's a really long one, but yeah, it's a sari.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, uh, lot of Belter Creole in this because of Anderson Dawes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, absolutely.
Says once a thing is
Uh,
written, it is forever. He's able to rile up the troops over there, and these belters
Yes.
are very easily
yeah, easily,
convinced.
no, yeah.
Yeah. I think Fred
The-
Johnson has instilled that in his brain. To become a belter, I have to be very easily convinced. So
A little
all of
too
the
easily convinced.
That's a built-in trait.
that's a belter trait.
Yeah, yeah.
The more you share,
Uh,
the more your bowl will be full. So he says that.
but
And
Dawes also
then,
says that keeping the missiles is an act of war,
Yeah, so
and
we'll give
using
them
them
back.
is an act of war. So also,
Yes.
why give them back? Why can't they just dismantle it in space so that
Yeah,
no one can get it? Why
he's
just why
probably
give it back?
playing the tune White Knights again, I think, by
Yeah,
saying that.
I don't think
He's
he
so
need
happy.
he
Yeah.
has any plans to give it back.
And he seemed
yeah,
too
yeah.
happy. When somebody is that happy, I'm suspicious.
Yeah,
I have 30 missiles. Not just one, not two, 30.
yeah,
This scene was again DOS again. That's so. I think the whole point of that scene was to. He suspected that these guys have something up their sleeve which he's not able
Yes.
to find out. And the camera pans to Naomi, of course. He is feeling really bad that that protomolecule thing is not destroyed yet. The one
Mm,
sample that she has.
yes.
So I guess that's the point of that whole scene.
Did they trace it back to her yet? They didn't, right, in this
No,
episode?
no, nobody knows
what
except her.
happened to
Nobody
Oh,
that?
knows.
What happened to that? Forgot what happened to that
So it's
sample
supposed to
mm,
have been destroyed, right? So
in the
they
sun,
show
right?
yeah.
they pointed to the sun and you can see it go and it's
Yeah.
destroyed. But the whole thing is a simulation. The protomolecule is where it was, where she had
It
hid
just
it.
went back.
So
It's in
who
hiding.
created that simulation? We don't know.
Naomi,
Naomi, I think.
Naomi
Naomi.
created then showed it to these guys
Okay,
saying, yeah, it's
showed it to
done.
these guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I am actually a little bit aghast that Anderson Dawes, he attempted to get information from Fred Johnson. He tried to get it from Holden. And who does he get it from? Diogo? Diogo, of all people?
Oh man, awesome.
There are a lot of names dropped, names as in the 5 Points crew, Rossi
Mm,
Burt. When Anderson Dawes goes to convince Diogo, he
Rossi
says,
Burt. Yeah, I
"You
heard
ran
that.
with the
Mm.
5 Points crew.
yes,
I grew up in the Rossi Burt or something."
yes,
Like
yes.
neighborhoods, I think, in
I think, yeah. But
like
I
Yeah, I
the
think
like
so,
Bronx, the
neighborhoods. Yeah.
Queens, and that type.
Yes,
I
yes.
like the expansion of the world through dialogues like these. Like
Yes.
you're just
Mm.
saying something but not explaining them. But you can
Ah,
explain it later.
Mm.
correct,
Not like
correct, correct.
Amos, what Amos did, but
Now there's a Lydia. And next. The next.
yeah. She was nice to me. We should
She
name
was
the ship
nice.
Nice to
Lydia.
me. My next
Next
ship
ship I
will be called
capture.
Lydia.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lydia.
It's
She
going
was
to be
nice
called
to me.
Lydia.
The Lydia.
Even even the Bobbie and Merton's dialogue, there are a
Uh,
lot of references to the religion, the chaplain,
yes.
279. There was a
What
form,
is
I
the
think.
chaplain? I was lost. Chaplain 101
So
and all
I'm
that. I
just
didn't get that.
guessing that this guy is some sort of a church guy, like a church chaplain or something.
Oh,
Yes.
okay,
And
okay.
Bobbie had to fill out a form, and 2790 is the form where you fill out
Mm,
your religion. And she said no.
Okay,
yes.
I
okay.
didn't
Good
go
one,
up and
man.
read,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
just
yeah.
I'm just speculating from the
Guessing that, huh?
dialogues.
Okay,
But
okay.
from the dialogues, the dialogue is very crisp, and as soon as she knew who she was, there were a lot of layers to it because she there first abuses him, then she
Hmm.
shows respect,
Yes.
then he says that I served with your father, and then she guesses that he's a chaplain,
Mm.
and then she shows some sort of disdain for the concept of religion itself. Yes. So it's so nice.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And
The
that
Amos
training scene
scene
was
was,
completely dope. That
yeah.
sparks at the backdrop, the whole B-roll about the training was
yeah,
awesome. I just loved it. I read some, I watched these YouTube channels where they talk about photography and if you
Uh,
videography and photography, they say that flares and these welding sparks form amazing backdrops. So this is exactly what they did.
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
Then
totally cool. So amazing.
I think the way they explored her backstory was far more effective than what they did with
Yes.
Amos. Because
Right.
yeah,
here with Bobbie, we still have mystery. Things are
Yeah.
dropped, information is dropped, but we are not told the whole story. I think that's how it
yeah.
should be, and not something about Lydia, whoever that is.
Bobby is
Yeah.
disrespectful to people in power twice.
Yeah,
When does that
she
happen?
is.
I missed that.
The
One
first
is the
time
sub,
she,
the
by
captain
mistake, she
enters.
says, yeah.
Ah,
Yeah,
And
correct.
it was a
at
mystery.
the end of her story in this episode, where she says, where that guy is telling her, "What do you know what the thing that I like about the earth?" And then she says, "You want to feed
Yeah,
me some bullshit so that I can
yes,
tell your
yes.
fucking story." She swears at him also.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
She
yeah,
does, she
yeah.
does.
Uh,
But he also wanted her to lie. So I think she has a strong
Yeah,
moral compass, which is a
yeah, yeah.
oh,
good trait.
yeah, yeah, of
Yes.
course, of course. Yeah, yeah, completely.
And
It
Then
was,
it was also a bit insulting, I think, from her point of view, because they are basically asking her to deny a
yeah,
traumatic experience that she went through and give a sanitized, incorrect version.
yeah,
mm,
Austin said, they are saying that it's to prevent a war, but from her point of view, it's deeply unfair. Because she has
yeah.
mm,
seen things, nobody else has seen it, they're not able to find it, or so they say. And it kind of invalidates her entire experience up to that point. So her anger is justified.
There are two scenes where they take that whatever that fish oil supplement, what they take.
Yeah, yes.
It looks like
Two
a
scenes.
fish oil supplement.
fish oil supplement.
Yeah, cod liver oil supplement.
Cod liver oil. It looks like a cod
It,
liver oil
yeah,
capsule. It looks
capsule.
exactly
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
It
Oh,
looks like
that
that.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
thing that they take. First, he takes to enhance his senses and see if he's lying,
Right.
and the next time
Yes.
Uh,
she takes it to enhance
She
her
takes
senses, and
to
so just give her it
to
for
to
the first
recall
time, right, sir? So you both of you are at enhanced senses.
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Why
all.
doesn't
Yes.
she say that he does the thing that she saw did not look human?
Exactly. I was wondering that throughout. It was so frustrating. She's not saying it. That
Yeah,
this
she said
thing.
Mm.
it's not
Yeah,
wearing, the seventh man is not wearing a wax suit.
Wax
that's
suit.
a.
Yes.
Didn't he cut her off? She got cut off at that point. Stop the interrogation.
It's,
So
she says no
Mm,
wax suit, and that's it. Then,
yeah,
they
that's
just
it.
stop
They
the
stop there.
interrogation.
They
Yes.
stop there. So it feels also like they don't want the information, or they already know the information and they don't want her to say too much.
yeah.
Mm.
In the first instance, she thinks that UN is attacking them, right? Before she was
Yes.
given
Yes, she
that cod liver
concludes
Given
that.
oil.
that, yeah.
She concludes
God.
before the cod liver oil. She concludes that Earth has
Uh,
attacked, so she's
Earth had she
readying
wants a
herself
war.
for
Yeah.
war. Yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah,
a
Yeah.
soldier in her who wants a war,
She wants
and
a
that
yeah.
war.
they've been wronged.
And when
Yeah.
after she
Yeah.
takes that, she still wants a war, but for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And these guys don't no, want war, don't want war at all.
Yeah.
The Martians.
Mm,
In that scene, actually, they showed something very. What I found interesting was the first time when she witnessed this directly, she saw what she wanted to see, that these UN Marines were shooting at her.
Mm,
correct.
But that wasn't the actual truth. She saw what she wanted to see. When she remembered it properly, it was them
yeah,
Mm,
shooting at the
at the
creature
thing.
behind them.
Mm.
Yes. So then it's a very difficult pill to swallow. She had decided on this war. She had
he swallowed
decided
it
that she won.
once.
Yes. Now let's just change the reason. I want war and no more cod liver oil.
Uh, and then she gets to know that she has to go to Earth now to tell all this.
Yeah,
All the lies. Yes.
Yes. Yeah,
I
that's
think
the bad
the
part.
bigger
She always
insult.
wanted to
Yeah.
go to Earth, but
to stomp on their beaches or something that
Yeah.
she says
something
in
like
that
that. Something like
alley
that.
cry,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
but now she has to go there as a. She has to go be a
Peace
sedate
ambassador.
and lie. Yes.
I
Mm.
thought
And
that scene, when whatever scene that comes in the that I remember very starkly of her on Earth, that I thought
Mm.
that came in at the start of season three. I must be wrong. That comes next
Maybe.
episode
Maybe.
probably. So
Yeah.
really
Next
nice scene.
episode or the one after that.
mm,
Yeah. Okay. There are a few Anderson Dawes, but I think he was the protagonist. I loved his character in this
yeah.
episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
The way he
The
was a
whole episode was
conniving
about her.
fox, properly playing everyone. Just the dialogues that he gets, good and bad, when Holden is in that, uh, we must
Oh
do
yeah.
good, we are good people. And he said, good and bad, don't get confused about that.
Uh,
And at the end, also says, you remind me of someone, you're just missing the heart. I think he was referencing Miller at that point, because I think that's the only other person,
oh.
the
Could be.
headstrong
Yeah. Yeah.
person he knew that
Oh
we
yeah.
know
Okay.
of.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when he
Mm.
talks to Diogo also, he asks him his age. And there's a very
Yeah.
nice detail. where they calculate their age by how the
Oh,
Earth moves around the
yeah.
sun.
And
Oh,
he
by
said
the
maybe
way,
about
what
a
he
year.
said is accurate. By the way, what he said is accurate. Jupiter, his age would have been 1 year and seven
One,
months. So I went
Yes.
and calculated.
yeah.
So there's a cool, you can go look it up. There's a cool website where you can input your age and find out how much, what birthday you would have crossed in which planet.
Oh,
So
nice.
Venus is faster. You're older in Venus. And
I'm
We
not
don't
going
want to
Venus
go over
also
there.
No, no,
is
no, no.
strange because, yeah, we don't want to go there because
No, no,
there's the
no.
Yeah,
proto-molecule there.
yeah. I'm
uh,
1.5
I'm going to
Jupiter years
Jupiter.
old.
Jupiter's good. Yes, Jupiter sounds good.
Jupiter is, I know, Venus, I was going to say trivia is that its day is shorter than its year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So it rotates around the sun, it revolves around the sun in 240 odd days, whereas its day is 247 days or something like that, something even longer than that.
Venus sounds like uh, one of those kids who had eaten too much sugar and they're just going around their mother. Just continuous.
Round and round.
Too much sugar they've had. It's going to crash any.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah, I
so it's
think that's all
cool.
the Anderson Dawes dialogues I had because I loved his character so much. I'd written them, all of his instances
Okay,
where he was being cool.
yeah.
Really outshone everybody else here. He was far
Yeah,
more impressive. Memorable. He was very memorable. Everybody else seemed like dumb
yeah.
compared to him.
Reading off a teleprompter.
Yeah.
It's like he was the only one who remembered his lines. Him
Yes.
and drummer.
Jared
Even
Harris, that's his name.
that one line where Holden asked him to get off the ship, even that sounded so forced,
Yeah.
artificial. Get
Get
off
off
my
my
hip.
shirt.
Yeah.
He's like a troglodyte. He is like a Flintstones character, idiot. What are
Get
you?
off my ship.
What are you doing?
You should have done the Harrison Ford. Get off my ship.
Get off my shirt. Something, put an effect to it. You sound like a child only.
Something. Yeah. Why are
Yeah.
you so flat?
Yeah, I think that's one of those instances where the guy wants to show he's strong in front of his girl because it is a road scenario where there's a fight
Uh,
that there's a fight that's never going to happen and just two guys facing off each other and there are girls watching. They want to be cool in
I was
front of the
watching.
girls.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The only thing is, she is already against him, so there's no point
yeah,
posturing.
there's no point.
Drummer should have walked in at that moment. That's my girl you're
Yeah,
talking
and
about.
taken
Yeah,
Naomi off.
that would have been effective.
Yeah, drummer has fantastic chemistry with everyone. Even Fred Johnson, she
Absolutely.
has. She,
Really, yeah, man. Old guys, girls, doesn't matter.
doesn't matter.
Doesn't
She is
matter. Doesn't
amazing with
She'll
matter.
take
everyone.
them
She
all.
Yeah.
oozes chemistry with everyone. But the Holden has zero game.
Yeah.
He's- the Naomi went with him because he was the only other guy on the ship
Yeah.
who did not consider her brother.
She was desperate.
Yeah, it's understandable from her point of view. He had a choice. Idiot.
He, he didn't have to, really.
Yeah. Oh
Oh
my
boy.
God.
Yeah,
For an
so
episode which we say is really nice, really good, we still find a lot of stupid details in this. People will start to question if we really like this show. It's-
We're good at this. That's
no,
why.
we liked it. We definitely liked it. In
we
spite of
definitely
all
liked
of
it.
this.
It's good.
No,
Yeah.
if you watch cricket with some hardcore fans, no, they keep going
Yeah.
ranting about if it's India versus Pakistan, for example. They keep, oh, he should have bowled that, he should have bowled. It's like that. We love the show so much that we keep pointing, say,
Yeah.
they should have done this, they should have done
Yeah.
that.
Last night I was watching football. My team,
Okay.
Manchester United, was 2-0 up, right? 2-0, and we were winning. Then they scored 4.
Oh no.
Okay. Then they were losing. Then we scored 3. And in the last 2 minutes, I was dead by the end. We won 5-4, and I was like, this game is taking aged me 30 years or 1.5 Jupiter years more. This game is horrible. I guess we
It's the
criticize the
same
thing we
thing
love,
here.
I think.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's something
absolutely.
similar here. Amos and Naomi and all of these people are making us go grayer.
Crazy.
Yes. So, how did you like the space sequence at the end where Alex cripples the ship very tactically and then finds out that there's Diego stupid with a stupid grin walking in?
In this 1.5 seasons that we've seen, Alex has gotten nothing. Like
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
he just says cool dialogues, like cowboyish dialogues, and
yeah, that's about it.
I like
This is
him,
that's
the
man. I
about
first
it.
like
time we're
him.
seeing his
But still, it's
expertise.
better than
Yeah.
Amos, whatever
Yeah,
Amos
he's a
dialogues
cool guy.
Amos gets.
Amos, oh my god. Yeah. In
He's
that
the cool
Diego
pilot.
scene, what the thing that went through my mind was he is able to, Anderson Dawes is able to fool the oldest person he's come across and the youngest. It doesn't matter who you are, he's going to fool you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
proper slimy guy. I don't know why people trust him.
And the age-old technique of using a camera fake. Come on, guys. I thought technology should have evolved.
Camera
So
fake?
the Fred looks at it and said, "Everything is fine. I can see Cortazar." And this guy says, "No, no, I'm right here, and I don't. He's not
Yeah,
even
but
here."
Yeah,
And
that's
we're
so
talking
dude,
about
stupid. It's
Fred
the
Johnson. Yeah, we're
they're
talking
like
about
heist.
Fred
age-old
Johnson.
techniques.
Yeah, heist 101. The first thing you do is mess with the cameras. So stupid.
No, he trusts everything, including the
Yeah,
security
yeah,
camera.
including,
That's a
sorry, I
big.
forgot. I
Then is
forgot he
okay.
trusts.
Then and all is pardon. All is pardon.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm
okay,
done.
there's
My
one
notes are done.
trivia. It
Mm.
says previously it was established that belters who lived in microgravity could not endure Earth's gravity. Gunny is going to Earth where she will encounter gravity that is 2.5 times Mars's normal. Imagine a
Oh,
150-pound person suddenly weighing 375 pounds. That is Gunny's
Wow.
position. However, the show
Wow.
has been explicit about the fact that Martian Marines train in 1G environments, precisely to
Mm.
prepare for the contingency of doing operations on Earth.
I feel like the person who's going to get shot now is Diogo.
It should be.
Yeah.
Should have
No,
been.
no, he's a weasel. He'll get out of every
Yeah,
situation,
like
any
proper
situation.
cockroach.
Yeah.
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 Not
Yeah,
weasel.
cockroach is better.
Weasel will be smart to
Yeah. So
he just gets
cockroach is better.
survives by
Yeah.
accident.
Yeah.
He was spaced out by his uncle and he survived
And
there
he's,
for uh,
I think the thing with Dawes is he tells you exactly what you
he
want to hear. Yeah.
he had a nuke fall on him and he still
Yes.
survived that.
There's no
He,
redemption.
there is no he's the immortal one in this. He's not going to die.
Yeah, he's not going to die.
Parvati was saying about those.
No, I was saying Dawes has this habit of telling you exactly what you want to hear. So he played Fred Johnson by telling him what he wants to hear.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
kind of riled up Holden because that's fun, and Holden gets
yeah.
irritated very quickly. And he says stupid things, so it's easy to rile him up. With Diogo also, he told him exactly what to hear. He played up that camaraderie thing, the
Yeah,
upbringing. He earns people's trust, I think. So
yeah.
that's probably why so many people follow him. He tells you exactly what is required for you at that time. It doesn't matter what he thinks, which
Perfect
is,
politician.
yeah, perfect politician.
All right. We'll see you in the next episode, which is called. We'll add a cut here so that it doesn't seem like I'm fumbling to find the name of the
Need a Google
next
search.
episode. It's called Pyre.
Fire.
Pyre. Pyre.
Oh, like
So
fire.
it,
Oh boy. Somebody's gonna die.
yeah. Okay. See
All
you
right.
guys in the next episode. Remember the Cant,
Or
Remember the
else.
cat, or else.
or else.